The American Coalition for Ukraine is an alliance of over 100 US-based organizations that have joined their efforts and resources to support Ukraine in its defense of the universal values of freedom and human dignity. Twice a year, we gather in Washington, D.C. for the Ukraine Action Summit, a dynamic and impactful event that brings together hundreds of advocates and supporters of Ukraine and their elected officials.
The Ukraine Action Summit is an opportunity to meet with our representatives and advocate for Ukraine's most pressing needs. This year's summit holds particular importance as it coincides with the new Congress and administration. Maintaining consistent and robust support for Ukraine through this transitional time is a priority. It's also a unique opportunity to connect with other organizations from across the country and coordinate and unify our efforts.
You do not have to have any prior advocacy experience to join us for the Ukraine Action Summit. Each state has a delegation leader who is there to support delegates and provide any information they need. They will handle all of your scheduling, and you will never have to attend advocacy meetings alone. The coalition will also provide training before and during the summit itself. It's perfectly all right to feel like you don't understand everything going on at first. You are not expected to sound like a politician, and ACU talking points are meant to help you feel prepared in meetings with representatives.
The summit itself consists of 1 day of training and 2 days of advocacy. During this time, you and other delegates from your state will meet with your senator and congressional representatives, or more likely members of their staff, advocating for legislation that the ACU has prioritized through months of thorough research and consideration. It is critical that we as a coalition present a unified voice and only advocate for these priorities and use pre-approved leave-behind materials during these meetings.
We do ask that you attend all 3 days of the summit, and summit attendees are responsible for their own travel, accommodation, and dining expenses. When we are in Washington, D.C., we are all representing the American Coalition for Ukraine, and our actions reflect back on the movement of American support for Ukraine in general. This is why it is critical to adhere to the coalition's dress code and behavior expectations, which include dressing professionally, showing up to meetings on time, and exhibiting politeness to every representative. Follow your delegation leader's decisions about roles within meetings with representatives, and remember, staff members are an extension of senators and congresspeople. They must be treated with the same level of respect.
Before the summit, you will receive a link to an online training from a website called Glitch. This training will help prepare you for our time in Washington, D.C. and has helpful information for new and returning summit attendees alike. Once at a summit, we will have in-person training session that builds off of this information and breakout sessions by state where delegates can get to know specific information pertinent to their representatives.
We do understand that everyone attending the summit is volunteering their time and resources to advocate on behalf of Ukraine, and we are so grateful for that commitment. As volunteers ourselves, we commit to working hard to provide the organization and support that you need to make this summit a success.